Profit with Nick Black, it's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain, we here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks, this where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair, it's time to sit back and talk to profit. Hey, hey, you talking to the prophet. Hey, hey. We talking condos and nice clothes and driving Lambos. I remember them night codes, we couldn't stand those. We tried to drive on them house roads, but had to stay low. Now there's solutions to hard bills we couldn't pay for. I talked to profit to get some profit, we couldn't change the top. If it's a stock and I need a cop it, I wait for him to drop it. Ain't no option, let's get it poppin', we chillin' in the trap. I need some crypto, put it in my pocket, by any means I rock. This is the Profit with Nick Black, it's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain, we here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks, this where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair, it's time to sit back and talk to profit. Hey, hey, you talking to the prophet. Hey, hey, you talking to the prophet.
Was the music playing and my voice was not, or was the I gotta figure out which one is which. One does both, one does one. Was the music going? Music but no voice. Got it. Now I think I figured it out. Yes. Now I've got it figured out. Okay. So now we should have music in the background and voice. Okay. Biotech Breakout, JJ, Demayan, Nara, Jimmy James, Johnny Midas, Hoop and Tony, S2K, Scorpion, Surf Tech, Suze, Skeptical Poo, Sean, Joe, what up? Michael Murphy, Simon, what up? Yeah, we got it figured out now, so that's good. JJ, one of the buttons, it's funny because the unmute button unmutes, there's a mute and unmute for every single channel, but one of them unmutes the music running through the mic and not the actual mic, which I guess is important because you might have times where you just want to turn someone off but have music going. Anyway, it's cool. If you guys could see it, it's this big colorful board. It's pretty cool. Anyway, Surf Tech, Tiffany, Tube, what up? Let's see. Darting Uphill, Expat Matt, Tom, WAQ Design, what's going on? Tiffany, hello. And we Crypto for Life, Philippe, cool. And let me go, Steve, what's going on, Steve? So then over here we have Biotech Breakout, Scorpion, CC Brown, V Reload, Joe Pirate, Spirella, 9 Theta 100, that's cool. Let's see. Gordon Bennett, hello. Shadeo, Dubai Money, Chris. What up, Chris? Detroit. Okay, so we're going to talk. Adam, what's going on, buddy? Texas Stakes, y'all. Texan_stakes. That's the stake pool. Texan_stakes. Cardano stake pool. Okay, Ella Paul, Dan, Patrick, hello. Back and free of COVID. Yes, it's good. Free of death. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about, oh, Vincent, on both sides. Cool. No sound on Theta. That's weird. Let's see. I want a new car, premium. What do I buy? All right, AMG. I mean, I would not. we have, I don't know what the RS3 is, but if I was going to buy anything, I would buy Mercedes just because the quality of the build is so good. I've only had few bad experiences with Mercedes, and they've always been eventually fixable, but everything is good in the long run with Mercedes because they have figured out the interior experience. Okay, crypto for life. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Because I want people to understand what you guys are talking about, you're gonna hear a lot of douchebags giving you different versions of what's going on in China. So we're gonna explain the China situation after we look at prices. The Cardano conference, if you look up 2021 Cardano Summit, then there are all sorts of links and you'll be able to watch it live online. It'll be very easy. So yeah, there you go. What's up, Belinda? Hello. All right. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk, we'll obviously talk prices. We'll look at the markets. ¿Qué onda, Joe? ¿Qué estás haciendo? Yes, the Cardano Summit is 25th, 26th. That is this weekend. So I would urge you guys to pay attention because my guess is they're going to talk up a lot of very interesting projects that are coming to Cardano, to Singularity Net, to Singularity DAO, to sort of like NewNet and True AGI, Sophia DAO, and all these cool projects. Rejuve. So yeah, let's see. Loving the no Bitcoin FUD from El Salvador. Apparently they want their native currency back. I think, I don't know how many million wallets have been installed, but they're using them. So they have their native currency. They've had their currency the whole time. I think there was 6 people that were like, I don't want the free Bitcoin. They're like, okay, well, you don't get it. We're going to talk Evergrande. And just so you guys know what that would look like if there was some nasty unwind, but we'll kind of game theory that out. My gut feeling is that there will be a backdoor, not a bailout, but a backdoor bridge that the Chinese government will probably negotiate through other means. So it doesn't look like they're directly bailing them out, but they will be protected. You know how they label these. They said it's not too big to fail. And yet, look what's happening. If there was some massive unwind, I think it would hit their banking industry and it would crush a lot of foreign investment because people would be so scared that their funds are going to be evaporated in any kind of procedure as you unwind a company and take their assets to liquidation and things like that. So I think, we'll know more in a little while because we'll talk about it. So we will see. Yeah, that's really all I got. So we'll talk Evergrande, we'll talk prices, and we'll talk Cardano Summit a little bit and get you guys prepared. Now, I'm doing an interview in 2 days with the Singularity DAO team, the entire team. It'll be aired next week. Also next week, we have live Emil and Jeff Snyder and Emil Kalinowski coming on board for making sense of crypto and coffee, our kind of bridge show. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Whenever Jeff and Emil are on, it's just pretty awesome. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That'll be next Tuesday. I think that's Tuesday. And then I will air the show that I record this week, the Singularity DAO show. It's going to air first on Money Map. And then I think I will make it the Thursday show. And so I'll have it as the Thursday show. And then I will just be here in the chat. So that'll be, and I don't know what that's gonna look like or entail. I don't know how much they're going to expose to us about what's going on with Dynasets and Singularity DAO and all that kind of stuff. But my guess is it's going to be pretty dope because it's going to be the last time you're going to hear from them before the Cardano Summit. But this will be airing right after the Cardano Summit, so it could give us some cool insights into what's been going on. So I'm very excited. It's going to be Marcelo, who's the CEO. It's also going to be several of the developers. So I think it's going to be really cool. So we shall see. Okay, so next week, lots of fun. Big fun, everyone. And if you didn't catch, in the details of the video, there is a link for Money Map for anybody that wants to watch earlier episodes. Yeah, cool. Oh, let me bring you an update I'll do it when I get back. Well, let's do our non-commercial break, and then I'm going to update you. One of my Elons already sold, so I want to tell you what happened there. And I don't want anybody to buy any of these things because of me. I'm just going to tell you what I've done and that I made money doing it. And you can do whatever you want. But I do like the idea of being in on an early generative project. Now, just because I made money on it doesn't mean you will. You might lose every single dollar you put into it. But I'm at least going to tell you what I did. Because if there are some of you that have a little, and this is disposable income. If you have, a little extra and you want to play the NFT generative game, I'm going to tell you what I did. Again, not telling you to do it. I'm just going to tell you that I did it and it worked out. Okay. So we will see you in a minute. Okay, so why don't we talk prices for just a bit? Let's get that out of the way. So for those of you that have been listening, well, let's talk prices. Let's do this. Let's go price discussion, NFTs, and then we're going to get into the guts of Evergrande. Cool? Cool. And put a like on the video if you can. If there's 49 people watching, 48, whatever, should at least have like 35 likes because it's free, bro. I'm not asking for nothing. Free. You should put a like for free. Okay, what's going on? We're at 43,000 Bitcoin. Got down to 41 and change. It's down 2% on the day, but it was down about 12%. I mean, it started the day at like 47, the day before 48 and a half. So it has been punished pretty good, down about 18%. So, but on the 7-day, it's only down about 8%. But on the 30-day, Bitcoin is showing an 11% retracement. Well, yeah, that's how it works. Now, is 11% the end of the world? No, you can have single days where you're up 10, 11, 15, 20%. So it's not that big of a deal. Is this the China unwind? Well, not completely. Bitcoin was languishing before that. You still had to work out all of the people last week that had, gotten over their skis. Funding rates had gotten high and they were getting blown up. That is healthy. You need to get all of the bad investment. You need to get all of the gamblers out of the market. You need to kind of clear both sides of the playing field, clear the benches, and bring on a new team of profligate investors that take stupid risk. So, and it's not institutional money sitting in these over leveraged positions. You guys realize that, right? It isn't institutional investors on Binance, on Bybit, on FUX exchange, doing all of this stupid junk. No, they've parked all their Bitcoin. They're not the ones doing this. It's profligate, ridiculous gambling mentality, sketchy new money. People that if you look on their Twitter profile, if you see, this is the phrase that always lets me know it's amateur hour, is they'll say like Forex investor, binary options trader, cryptocurrency consultant. You are none of those things, sir. 7 months ago, it said unemployed, right? And now it's Forex trader, binary options trader. Guess what? We all know that that's amateur hour. When we see that in your profile, we know you know nothing. We know you're a gambler that watched some stupid course or you got led to some dumb program on Clubhouse and you've got 16 minutes of training watching this dude that can barely get through a sentence in English saying, yeah, entrepreneur, FX trader, binary options trader. When those are together, you know the person has 14 and a half minutes of I trade on leverage. What a girl told me last night, she was texting me, asking me questions. I don't know. Oh, on Instagram, she said, I've been making all sorts of money yield farming. I said, what? I'm yield farming. Oh, what? I said, what is that? Well, I just put my money in and I get all these. You don't even know what you're doing, dummy. I said, that's how people get blown up. Don't ever contact me again. Amateur hour. So, yeah. Anyway, those people get blown up in cycles. And this last, about 2 weeks ago, was the start of the blow up cycle. Bitcoin got up to what, 52-ish, almost 52. And then people got, and it's every single time Bitcoin starts to go up, people take on stupid leverage now, which is luckily it's only like 20x leverage. And then they get nuked. And I guess they go have war stories about how I don't know what they teach in these courses. It's so bad. It's such flawed information. They're missing the greatest opportunity of their entire life to what? To take $200 and try to make it into 250 or 300 or even 1,000, and then they get nuked. So stupid. Anyway, Alex, good to see you. Crypto Fanatico, also good to see you. GSRC videos, good to see you too. Bitcoin Candy. All right. So MLB NFTs since the last drop. No, I actually got pushed out of that one. That one actually frustrated me. I tried to buy the tops ones, the second drop, because I have the first drop. I have it all covered. I tried to buy the second one. It froze my screen. It wouldn't let me put in an order. I tried to buy the bazooka ones, the bazooka bubblegum ones. I bought 40 packs. They gave me 5. And I just said, I don't understand. Oh, they charged me for 40. They gave me 5. So I wrote an interesting letter to the people at Bazooka. And I said, give me all my money back. So there. Okay. Let's continue. Ethereum is 3,000. It's basically down on base. It's the same as Bitcoin. So you have to look and see who's beating Bitcoin. Well, by a quarter point. That's not really enough to. That's a rounding error on either side. So we don't know what's going on with Ethereum other than just a greater Bitcoin story. And yes, some of this pivots to Evergrande, but not all of it. This sell-off started before Evergrande. This is about 2 weeks ago. This is part of a longer story of idiots getting blown up, like we just talked about. So you got to clear all those idiots out and make way for new idiots. And until the new idiots come in, at least the price of Ethereum is less, so that the stupid fees that we're getting charged are less. Okay, that's where the dummy coins kind of end. And I say dummy coins because these are the ones that are kind of pivoting off of the weirdnesses in the economy, but mostly just profligate gambling. Now, when we go to Cardano, we had a pretty big sell-off. And we're down from the mid to higher twos down to the low twos. But we now have smart contracts, and we're going into the Cardano Summit, which I think is a big, big, big deal. And I think everybody's going to get very happy here in a few days when they start talking. So there's a lot of companies are going to be presenting. There's going to be a lot of really interesting discussions, both on the science and the nature of what they intend to do, what they're doing, a lot of the app development that are going to roll out. Can I please explain time lock on these smart contracts? I would need a little bit more from you for that. I mean, remember that smart contracts are programmable. It's a token, and inside the token, you can write a contract with a bunch of if-then statements, and as crazy as you want to get with it. So I'm sure that's just one of many little bits and pieces that can be programmed into a smart contract. It can be as extravagant as you'd like. The problem is the more complicated it is to manage, and the more kind of the more chances for a failure in code or some unaudited snippet of code to come back and bite you in the A later. Yeah. Which is the best staking pool to join on Daedalus or Yoroi? Well, my favorite is Texan_stakes. Texan_stakes. That's just me. My name's Bennett and I ain't in it. Actually, my name isn't Bennett and I is in it. All right. So let's, with the summit coming, there's a lot they're going to say about a lot. And I don't even know how deep they're going to go, but I know that there are tons of apps that are waiting to drop. My guess is they're going to make some statements about auditing code. And if I was to hedge, I would say that they don't want a bunch of unaudited bullshit hitting Cardano. Why? Because you have companies like Solana where their whole effing, they do one token drop, they get DDoSed, and then they just decide to pull the plug on it. Well, they didn't have a choice, did they? So it makes you wonder for all the Solana heads out there that are like, yeah, Solana. Are you cool with a network that one person can flip a switch and shut the whole thing down for 16 hours? Is that the decentralized? Oh, what about all that high throughput? They were the ones that were saying that they could do, tens, hundreds of thousands of transactions a second. Oh, really? How come they couldn't handle a little DDoS attack? So all you have to do is DDoS Solana and the whole thing shuts down? Oh, did it shut down? Did the nodes unsync, or did they shut it down? Who cares? Who cares why, what, who? In this situation, it is a dumpster. So again, you have an inorganic pump with a spammy Sammy. And I'm trying to give this dude the benefit of the doubt, but it's like, you guys see these things are ridiculous. Do not focus on price. If you're focused on price, that's the dummy carrot. They're just dangling the dummy carrot. The price doesn't matter. Look into the future. If you guys are forward thinking, you guys will win in crypto. Jerry and I talk about this stuff. We're not screaming because we want, but I have no vested interest in you guys other than if you guys are more intelligent and you make smarter decisions, the entire space is smarter. And guess what? We are supposed to inherit the wealth of all of these idiots, criminals, crooks, and douchebags. That's the way the world works if we are in a better place. We, the smart people, inherit, and the idiots get blown up, pushed to the sidelines. The cheaters and the thieves go to jail, and we win because we're smarter. We win because we do homework and research, and we're willing to. Success is not what you do at work when some asshole is paying you by the hour. Success is what you do after work when you're trying to change your life so that your residual income is bigger than your income, and you can tell your boss to go F himself forever. And then you can buy every house on the block and turn it into a slum just because you hate your boss. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. That would be mean-spirited. Yeah, Novogratz is such an idiot. Okay, so it's very interesting what's coming with Cardano. I'm very excited about all of the things we're going to hear. So any price action in Cardano right now, I don't care. I'm buying it. And I'm not saying I'm buying it because, I'm not one of these dicks that say, oh, I'll buy your bag. Sell me your. That's stupid. That's douchey. That's Sammy spammy type stuff. I'm not buying your bags or his bags or anybody's. But there is a seller on the other side of every trade. It's just, right? So like if someone is selling and if you're buying, someone is exiting. There's a bunch of reasons. It might not be that they've lost faith. It might just be that they need to pay rent or something. Who knows, right? Some people just sell. I would not be a seller of Cardano. I would not be a seller of anything right now. You would have to be a dummy to be selling right now. With everything that's coming and with the excitement in the space, you just have to be an ignorant jackwagon. But it is what it is. Maybe you need to pay rent. Maybe you owe money. Maybe this. Maybe your wife needs a new kidney. I don't know. All right. So Cardano is fine. I think Ethereum's fine too. And again, I have problems with Ethereum, but new money coming into it's not one of them because that's the second guy on the call sheet. And people don't seem to care that it's got so many technical flaws and problems that it can't get out of its own way, and that what they're trying to do is incredibly difficult. And I think Charles said it. He said proof of stake is not easy. It's easy to say you have a decentralized this and that, and I can run 1 trillion transactions a second through my laptop in a test environment with perfect everything. But the minute you expose that thing to the forces of the universe, You get what you get. Okay? So, yeah. All right. Polkadot. Let me make it easier. I'm just going to tell you what I think is a buy, not advice. You guys know, don't get advice from people on the internet, period. This whole thing could be fake. I could be living in squalor on some side of the street with the guy that sold me the paintings. Okay, Polkadot is a buy, in my opinion. It hasn't regained the position that I think. I think it's much stronger now as they're doing their parachain auctions and they're starting to assign slots. I think it's 5 times as valuable now. So before, when I was buying it thinking 50 to 100. I think this is a $200, $300, $400, $500 token. They're doing a lot of stuff. Their problem is communication, poor communication. When's the last time you heard from Gavin Wood? I don't know. I don't know. So when they start communicating, I hope they do. I know one of the developers over there, and we talk a lot. And I said, hey guy, why don't you guys talk to the public ever? He's like, well, we're just not focused on that. I'm like, be focused on it, stupid. Be focused. At least be focused while I own the token. Of course, that's for my own benefit. Anyway, if you're staking DOT, a great place to stake it is Kraken, by the way. And I don't know if you guys saw this morning, but Kraken put out a piece of news. I think they now accept Apple Pay and Google Pay, which that's kind of cool. I wasn't sure if I was reading that right. I know the Google Pay part, but I wasn't sure if Apple Pay was now or coming soon. Anyway, kind of cool. So there. Cosmos. In my opinion, Cosmos moved too far too fast. Fetch, it set their mainnet up on Cosmos. I don't know if that is enough to justify the price action, but the price is the price. So is it over or undervalued? In my opinion, I am not buying Cosmos here. I would be a buyer under $30. I'm not a buyer here because I think it's a little bit over its skis. I think that's enthusiasm. Therefore, I would say this is an overvalued asset. However, if you're sitting on it, obviously go over to Kraken and stake it. Collect that yield. We love us some yield, do we not? Go get you some yield and enjoy. Filecoin, no. Matic is a buy. VeChain, no. You buy it under 5 cents. You sell it over 15 to 20 cents. You sell it in stages. I think this has become a trade. This is no longer an investment. It's with a heavy heart, I have to say that VeChain is no longer an investment. I don't think you really want any exposure to China, and we will make that more clear here in a minute. Graph token, it's tricky. A Graph token is probably a buy around 50 cents. It's probably a sell around 90 cents, 70, 90 cents. But you know what? It's having a decent day. They're all green. I can't argue with that. Near $7. Now it's back. I think it's starting to get back in the buying range. It had moved really fast, still up 34% of the month. But you should be looking for quarterly pumps in Near. Why? Because Coinbase, it's my assumption that they will be buying it onto their balance sheet. It's a Coinbase venture project. So do the game theory as much as you can. That's a guess in my terms. Near is a good project. Near is a very solid project. So yeah. ARweave starting to come back down into a range where it's probably buyable. I think that is probably $35, $32. So I'm not adding here. It's moved really fast. I'm going to chill. And the success of ARweave as a token is kind of tied or tethered to some extent to Polkadot, right? It's Polkadot project. So I think Polkadot needs a better strategy of communication, and all of the projects, all the different parachains are going to experience some level of success. Cool. Rune, probably not a buy yet. I'm thinking that around 6-ish, in the 6 range, we're buying. So I would hold off. Engine, I'm out of Engine. I'm kind of just watching. I don't know. They also don't communicate really well. I think it's more of a pumpy token. I think it doesn't know where it wants to sit. I think when the NFT space is doing good, Engine's doing good. Another thing to remember that most of the forces pumping the non-fungible token space, there's a little bit of gambling in there. There's a little bit of game theory, but it's people with disposable income. So when everybody's like, when is NFTs going to crash? Well, probably not anytime soon, because the people playing it are not your typical investor. These are not your Wall Street bets half-tards. These are not your FX trader, entrepreneur, binary options trader for 16 minutes. These are not they. So Nexo is a buy. They've gone way too low for what they offer. OGN, I don't know how to price this, man. I have been grappling with this for a long time. What they do is awesome. This kind of decentralized Shopify is really easy to launch a store and all that's great, but no one's doing it. They're trying to get into NFTs because that's what everyone does when they don't have a direction. That's what Chainlink does. Everybody's NFTs when they don't know what to do. So I don't know. Telcoin, it's a little pump coin. This company probably won't exist in a year, but it's a pumpy little coin. You probably made some money, and it's a penny. People go price fishing in good markets. I expect a lot of these tokens to pump hard in heavy markets. When Bitcoin passes 60K again, and everybody gets, woo, and everybody's happy, and I expect this to be probably November-ish, right? Maybe December, and everybody's going woo-woo, maybe October, and the fall woo-woo. When the woo-woo comes, these little spammy tokens perform really well because people go, what's cheap? What's the next Bitcoin? Answer, the next Bitcoin is Bitcoin. So there. YOLO Buck, what's up? All right. Let's keep it going. Fetch is a buy, in my opinion. They've had some trouble with the rollout of this mainnet. Not all the Cosmos stations not quite linking up. They haven't released the tokens that were staked as the new tokens, but they will get these little technical snafus have nothing to do with what they're going to be doing in AI. Those are unrelated. Remember, all of the token related stuff, that's on-ramp crap for you and I. That's on-ramp stuff for investors. That's not the functionality of the token. Don't get frustrated in any of this stuff. You really shouldn't. If you're getting frustrated, it means you're somewhat emotional, and you should not be emotional. The reason there is opportunity is because we're early. We're early, and we have an opportunity because it's frustrating. If it was easy, grandma would do it, and there'd be no money left. All of the currency units would look for other places, but they're not. They're not even looking for here yet. So because it's uncomfortable, because it's wacky, because it's skewed and stupid and dumb, and things don't make sense, and things shut down and they break and all this, that's how you know you're early. So when these things stop happening, you should be worried. If everything's running smooth, you're like, I'm always uncomfortable after about 10, 15 days of up market. I'm like, it's time for some stable coin. But right now, I'm buying some things. So yesterday I bought AGIX and I bought Cardano. I say, why would you buy Cardano? You got Cardano at 3 cents. Yeah. You got like millions of them. Yeah. I'm going to get more, bro, because I'm trying to put my currency units to work where they're going to be most effective. Right? It doesn't do me any good to sit money in my bank account and lose money. I want to make money off my money and then make money off that money. It's like, when are you going to buy this or buy that? I'm not going to buy nothing, bro. I'm going to buy cars that I can rent out for a lot of money. I'm going to take that money. I'm going to turn it into stable coin, and I'm going to get paid 12%. And when there's a sell-off like this, I'm going to go into the market. I'm going to buy quality assets that I can explain to my grandmother that I think will move the world in the next 3 years. That's what I'm going to do, because guess what? In my opinion, AI is the last one. Do you guys remember what happened after Skynet and the Terminators came down? That was it. Well, that's the way I look at the investment space. When AI comes, there is no after the robots have come investment type stuff. That's over with, because the robots will do it. They will seek those opportunities. They will arbitrage any opportunities in real time. we will be pushed to the sidelines. If you don't have a substantial foothold in AI, you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. My personal feeling is you're done. You will be pushed to the sidelines, and wherever you're at, that's basically where you're going to be stuck economically, and you're not going to have a chance to get back in, because that will be it. Because the AI projects that are meaningful will go and go and go, and that will be that. And you won't be able to get on. And then what people will do is they'll wait and they'll go, wait, I missed it. And then that kind of I missed it conversation will come. I missed it. Well, okay. All right. Singularity DAO. It's having a pretty good bounce back day, but remember, this is something that hit $11 a few weeks ago. Yeah, 11. It started at 20 cents. And guess what? If you owned AGIX, you got it for free, bro. Free. My favorite number, 1, 2, free. All right. Matrix AI. It's a spammy junk coin. Zero utility. Their platform sucks. Their staking sucks. Everything about them sucks. Their community sucks. And their admins really suck. They know nothing. It is a complete dumpster fire with zero effing utility. That said, people go price fishing, and when the markets pop back up and people are looking at AI, I think 5-6 months from now, I don't know when, and everybody's like, ooh, AI, I want to get everything AI. They're going to look at these cheap tokens. And so I think there's a cheap trade here where you probably get this thing for 3 or 4 cents and you flip it at 50 cents to $1. Easy. Again, lottery ticket, but just keep in the back of your mind, and AGIX is 30 cents, and I'm definitely a buyer. Okay, real quick, you know that Singularity Net is going to be discussing some things at the Cardano Summit. When Ben talks, doesn't seem like people really listen, but if they had, they would have made bank. So, oh, good work, Patsy. Nice one. Anyway, keep it in mind. That's our price discussion. Let's have a little fun just for a second before we talk about our friends in China, our home developers in China, our real estate developers. Let's go. I want to show you something. Oh, not that one. Okay, so these are some of the Elon Musks. Woo woo! Look at all these guys. Look at all these Elons. There's a really funny one. Where's the? Oh, that's on the other account. I think I have it. Oh yeah, I have. So I have 2 accounts. One is like my kind of hold account. Of these, this is probably my favorite, and it's not rare or anything like that. It's just kind of cool. Just a majestic Elon. But if we go, let's see if it'll let me. Oh, it's the other account. I wonder if I can get back to it. Oh, these are the same. Okay. Well, anyway, so Freddie Mercury. Yes, this is what I want to show you. Okay, in this account. So here's what I did. Let me just give you a really quick kind of blister about what happened. And I'm not telling anyone to do this. If you do want to check it out, you can just go to perfnft.com, which is Professor Elon Rocket Factory. perfnft.com. And you can mint the token. Someone was trying to buy one of my tokens the other day for like Ethereum and a half. I was like, no, don't buy anything from me, dummy. Go and mint your own because you might get a rare one. What is rarity? Gold skin, bro. So this Freddie Mercury looking Elon Musk right here has gold skin. Gold is gold. So I listed it for 10 Ethereum. Now, does that mean it's going to sell? No. But what I did also do, let me show you over here. Let me show you how I gamed it out. So I spent 1 Ethereum on their website. And let me show you what that website looks like. Just so you don't think I'm joshing you. perfnft.com. This is the rocket. You connect your wallet, which is your MetaMask wallet. If you have some Ethereum, you can mint. See how it says 1601 of 9,999? So we are just at 16% of the total. So you connect your wallet and then you can mint. You can mint up to 30, right? Now, please nobody go and do this. I'm not telling anyone to do this. I'm just telling you what I did. You do you. What I did is I minted 11, okay? And I minted them last week on when you could, the first day. And the same thing, 0.069. So I got, because of where the gas fees were when I did it, I got 11 for one Ethereum. So I spent one Ethereum. All right. So $3,000. Yes, it is a lot to spend on cartoony pictures of Elon Musk's head box. I get it. But Elon Musk has this big giant community and you get it. Okay. So I minted them. I then listed them all for sale for various prices. So let me go back. So anyway, there's some cool stuff because it isn't just that you get these things. They're doing all sorts of cool crap. So they're doing a community fund. They're doing winners for a 4.2 ETH, like 420, right? 420 contest, 3 ETH raffle for early adopters. They're doing all these cool prizes. You get a chance to win tickets to this 0G astronaut experience. There's all sorts of really cool things. You can win a Tesla car. Like you can win a car. So is it silly? Yes. Is it dumb? Probably. Is the artwork cool? It's pretty cool, actually. I buy a lot of NFTs. You guys know that. But the generative stuff is its whole own universe where you can kind of play. And so what you're doing is when you're looking at this stuff, let me tell you something else to look at. So let's go to the Rocket Factory. I want to tell you a couple of things. So here's what happens. So let me tell you, there's 1.6K items. So 1,600 have sold. There's 495 different owners. The floor price, what does that mean? That's the lowest one for sale is 0.04. Okay. Volume traded 50.5. Well, I took mine and I listed them. And this is one. Let me go back so you can see all of mine. This is you, which is me, as you can see. Nick Black NFTs. Oh, those are mine. I also have some other ones, Bulls on the Block, which I think are also pretty dope. Okay. So I've listed them except for this one that has gold skin because anything with gold is valuable. It's rare. So those you jack the price up. I would not list them less than 10 Ethereum, but I listed all of mine. I bought 10. So I had, 11 of them with 1 Ethereum. I listed them all for prices that range between 1 and 2 Ethereum. So you'll notice 1.98, 1.29, 1.74, 1.65. I just make them random prices. 1.5, 1.35, 1.25, 1.1, 1.05. You get it? Cool. And then I just listed my rare one. Rare. I listed another one too. You won't see it. He's got a helmet on. And the helmets are dope. So that one sold for 1.87 Ethereum. Why is Vincent, why is the floor below the minting price? Some people may need to pay rent, Vincent, and they go, oh no. And so they mint and then they find the ones that aren't that valuable. Also, maybe they sold some good ones or whatever. And maybe they just, I don't know. Like, why would you ever let the floor go below what you paid? I don't know. How does one set up a MetaMask wallet? It's very easy. You go to metamask.io and you click set up a wallet. You can set it up and have it as a browser extension right there in your browser. I recommend either Brave. I recommend Brave. But you may want to also set it up. But you're going to get served a 12-word passphrase. Please secure your passphrase. Do not ever disclose it to anyone ever. Yada, yada, yada. Then when you buy these things, you will simply link up your wallet and they will show up on OpenSea, but they will also show up in your wallet on MetaMask. You'll be able to, it'll say, I can look at my NFTs because they are assets because it's linked to your MetaMask wallet that you own through MetaMask, right? That's kind of cool. So there you go. You have some Ethereum, whatever Ethereum you want to use to purchase NFTs. Right now it's Ethereum. You put them on, what in the hell? I'm gonna have to put you as a blocked. Okay, cool. So long story short, I bought 11. I listed them all between 1 and 2 Ethereum. One of them already sold because he had a helmet. That's great, helmet. And so that's good, I guess. And so I've already not quite doubled, but almost doubled my original investment. So what did I do? I took the profit. So I'm on the house's money. I took the profit and I went and bought some Bulls on the Block. which if I go through here, you'll see some of them. There's another bull. There's another bull, another bull, another bull. Why? Because they have some big deals in the works. And if the bulls on the block get some recognition, which I think they will, because the artwork is freaking awesome. I mean, it's really good artwork. Let me just click into this. It's really quality. They're also doing some really cool things with evolution where you'll be able to put the bull into a machine and lock it up for a year, but you get a new bull as a result, and you could even up the rarity of it. So there's all sorts of cool things happening. And I would just say, yeah, I mean, there you go. So I am excited about it and I'm having fun. But that was my play. So I bought 11. I listed them all between 1 and 2. And yeah, and they're not all minted yet. And you can mint them for 0.06. So it's like, if you have a little extra, for those of you that have been with me for a while and you know who you are, my 6 to 7 figure crew, go get a few. Go get a few Elons and go get a few freaking bulls on the block. And just kind of hoover up the floor. Now, when you look at bulls on the block, this is why this is kind of cool. Let me look at the floor there is 0.2. So if you want to find, you go price low to high, go buy now. This is on OpenSea. This is because these have already been issued. They've already been minted. These are all the ones that are 0.2. And I'm just hoovering up ones on the bottom that are 0.2. Dunk, 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 dunk. Why? With my profits from Elon. So I make my Elon profits, and then I go back and I buy up bulls. So that's what I'm doing because it's all house's money. Does that make sense? So anyway, that's my plan. That's what I've done. It's been profitable. It doesn't mean you will. It just means it's fun. It's another cool thing to do. And guess what? When I'm dicking around with my NFTs, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not effing with my actually life-changing portfolio, right? And Dan, real quick, my thoughts on Solana are exactly like they were. It's spammy, inorganic growth pushed by spammy Bank Friedman and FTX Exchange. And the first time they got tested, their whole platform blew up and it froze and they shut it down. Good thing it's not centralized, I guess, right? When's the last time Cardano just shut down? Shut down until further notice. Never. Never. Oh, God. Anyway, any NFTs I like on Cardano ecosystem? No. They all look like dog shit. If we're being honest, Adam, all the fair play. I love Cardano. You guys know. I love Charles. You guys know that. But the NFTs on Cardano right now are dog crap. All of them are spammy bullshit. It is what it is. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sticking to Nifty Gateway and for artwork, and I'm sticking to OpenSea for these generative projects. And who knows? You know what? In a few months, maybe things roll out and they look a little different. But right now, the artwork I'm seeing on Cardano, it's not a Cardano problem. It's the project's problem. It's garbage artwork. And I don't want to buy anything that I don't think is kind of cool. I like these Elons because I think they're kind of cool. I don't know why, but they just feel very iconic to me. Like if these were like paintings or like on a digital screen in your house and they were floating by, I would be like, cool, man. That's kind of cool. I just haven't seen anything on Cardano that looks cool. It all looks kind of junky, like kind of half-ass artists that didn't really put enough thought into it. When I look at the Bored Apes, or when I look, I mean, the artwork is good artwork. And so that's the thing. You gotta make sure that the stuff that you're buying is good artwork first and foremost, because you're gonna be stuck with it. If it's not a good investment, you want to at least be stuck with stuff that you think is cool, that you think is kind of fun. And I like this stuff. And it worked. Like I'm on the house's money now. So yeah. All right. Let me digress. Let's talk a little bit of game theory. And our game theory discussion today is on China markets. China's embattled developer Evergrande is on the brink of default. And here's why it matters. So let's have a little Evergrande discussion. You're like, what the hell? Okay, I want you guys to understand these markets so that you're making correct estimations for your decisions, like how much bleed over is there going to be? What does it mean? Does it even affect crypto? The answer is yes, because psychology becomes widespread and people can become overly negative, overly positive, ridiculously exuberant, or completely flawed. And it's usually like a mixture of all these things. So snowed under its crushing debt of 300 billion plus, Evergrande is so huge that the fallout from any failure could hurt not just China's economy, but contagion could spread to markets beyond China. Well, we saw that, haven't we? We saw that yesterday. We saw that today. There was a relief rally, which S the bed earlier. So here's how big Evergrande is and how bad its debt problems are and what's next. Chinese property giant Evergrande is on the brink of collapse. Okay. Analysts warned potential fail. And real quick, this isn't a new thing. We've known about this. Evergrande has been telling us for over 6 months, hey, man, we're having trouble. If the economy doesn't bounce back, right? V-shaped recovery, which we all now know is bullshit. And it's just more bad press. And anyway, let me not get off on the nonsensical stuff. Let's just talk about what's going on with Evergrande. Okay. Chinese property giant Evergrande is on the brink of collapse, and analysts warn the potential fallout could have far-reaching implications that spill outside China's borders. Well, yes, think about this. It's not just the Chinese and the Chinese government that are involved in Chinese markets. Think of all the investors. If you're in, look, it can be grandma and grandpa that have some Vanguard fund money, right? Some money over in Vanguard, the biggest passive investor, right? There is this big fund that is passively buying certain assets and certain percentages. Well, they have exposure to emerging markets. I think they have an emerging market fund. And if they have exposure to emerging markets, in those emerging markets, there is banking and real estate and, and credit exposure to a big, dump or some kind of catastrophic unwind. Well, that could affect all of those foreign investors. What happens if Evergrande goes down and foreign investors get clipped and only investors in China get repatriated their funds, which could likely happen? Well, that's going to take tons of money out of China in investment. People's Bank of China knows this. They're not stupid. Do not assume the Chinese are stupid. A lot of this is window dressing. It's marketing. It's how you display how you're going to handle the situation. So let me continue. Evergrande's collapse. This is Mark Williams, Chief Asia Economist at Capital Economics. He says Evergrande's collapse will be the biggest test that China's financial system has faced in years. Yes, it would be very similar to a Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns type moment. It would be theirs. And guess what? This is in the real estate space. So you're starting to see some similarities, right? It turns out you can't cook books forever. You can't fake it till you make it. When you get to a certain size, there's kind of no more faking it, right? And this is what we're starting to see. How did we get here? Well, after expanding rapidly for years and snapping up assets as China's economy boomed, Evergrande is now snowed under a crushing debt of 300 plus billion. The world's most indebted property developer has been scrambling to pay its suppliers and warned investors twice in as many weeks that it could default on its debts. This isn't a new thing. It's just that the second warning was the one that's really scaring everyone. So on Tuesday, Evergrande said its property sales will likely continue to drop significantly in September after declining for months. Where's this worldwide inflation everyone was talking about? You guys starting to get why people like Jeff Snyder and other educated people that are looking at these markets realize that maybe the inflation stuff is a myth. Maybe the V-shaped recovery stuff is a myth. Lower for longer is maybe the reality, that there were problems before COVID that exist after COVID. They didn't go away. COVID exacerbated a lot of problems, but the world was not showered, at least not by the Fed, in currency units. They didn't print a fucking single dime. You guys know that, right? Not one fucking penny. It's just, ugh. Anyway, Let's continue. So the Chinese developer is so huge that a fallout from potential failure could hurt not only the Chinese economy, but spread to markets beyond, as we've seen. Evergrande's collapse will be the biggest test that China's financial system has faced. Banks have responded to its deteriorating cash flow, some in Hong Kong, including HSBC and Standard Chartered. Where have we heard those before? Because they're two of the four worst effing banks on the planet. HSBC, by the way, is your counterparty for all your gold. If there's any idiots in here, pardon my French, but if there's anybody in here that has exposure to GLD, gold ETF, that's your counterparty, HSBC. That you feel safe about that? I would not. Standard Chartered, another awful bank. Okay, they've declined to extend new loans to buyers of two uncompleted Evergrande residential projects. Meaning, unless someone comes and takes those over, those are not happening. And anybody that invested, that put money in there, like, I'm going to buy this house once you build it, there's not going to be a house. You're just going to get an IOU, a cool tax write-off, but your money's gone. If you put your life savings into that house that's getting built, gone. I mean, gone if there's no bailout. Ratings agencies have repeatedly downgraded the firm, citing its liquidity problems. I'm sure they're junkier than junk. But this is, by the way, when you're investing in junk, this is what you're investing in. Companies like this that look big, and if they're big, they fall big. All right. Citing its liquidity problems, Evergrande's problems intensified last year when China introduced rules. This is, I think, what really choked them. Rules to rein in the borrowing costs of developers. These measures place a cap. This is the key. If you remember anything else, China introduces these rules that basically place a cap on debt, meaning how much debt you can take on in relation to your cash flow. So if you have a smaller cash flow, they won't let you take on new debts. You have to lower. I mean, you either have to jack up your cash flows or you have to, lower your debt burden. And they have not been able to do either of those two things. Its shares plunged nearly 80% so far this year, and trading of its bonds was repeatedly halted by Chinese stock exchanges in the past weeks. So what is Evergrande? Let's make it clear. Evergrande is basically everywhere. Its main business is real estate, and it's China's second largest property developer by sales. They own more than 1,300 real estate projects in over 280 cities in China. Its property services arm is involved in nearly 2,800 projects across more than 310 cities in China. Let me just do that one. The company has 7 units dabbling in a wide range of industries, including electrical vehicles, healthcare services, consumer products, video and television production units, like baby Netflix's, and even a theme park. They have themselves a theme park. The firm has, under its direct employment, 200,000 plus employees, but indirectly creates more than 3.8 million, almost 4 million jobs a year. This is a big deal, right? Yes, there's over 1 billion people in China. I get it. But you know what? 3.8 million jobs is still 3.8 million jobs through its development, and contracting, labor, and all that kind of stuff. Evergrande shares and bonds are included in indexes across Asia and indirectly in indexes everywhere if you have exposure to China, because you probably have exposure to somebody that has exposure, right? It may be secondary or tertiary indirect exposure, but if China S's the bed and you have, assets or some kind of equity that's tethered to assets in China, you get effed, all right? Who will be affected? The pool of affected parties include banks, suppliers, home buyers, and investors, both sovereign and foreign. So us too, if you have exposure, which creates a lot of psychological risk, and and people start to de-risk and take their money to the sidelines, and they try to game theory it out, right? Evergrande warned this week its escalating troubles could lead to broader default risks. It said that if it can't repay its debt, it may lead to a situation of cross default. Oh, do you love it? That's right. Monkey cool, huh? How about that? It said if it can't repay its debt, it may lead to a situation of cross default where a default triggered in one situation may spread to other obligations, debt obligations, all sorts of consumer and corporate paper and all that kind of stuff. Not consumer paper, investor debt paper, and I would say that would be like debt that would be purchased in-house that would be sold to investors in-house versus like a more robust sale of corporate debt and corporate notes, things like that. So they are worried that, other fruit on the vine will spoil. A banking failure triggered by the collapse of a major property developer was the single most likely scenario that could lead to a hard landing in China. So this is the Mark Williams guy again. So here's who all gets nuked. One, banks. The banking industry would be among the first to be hit if there's any contagion effects on the wider property sector in China, said Williams of Capital Economics. They really like this guy. A banking failure triggered by the collapse of major property developers was the single most likely scenario that could lead to a hard landing. Everybody's talking about a soft landing, hard landing for China. And the fact that financial markets aren't currently signaling alarm doesn't mean that they won't. So the fact that people aren't more scared doesn't change the level of risk, right? So you have people that just aren't scared of heights. That doesn't change the fact that if you fall off a building, you're effing dead, period. Okay, who else gets nuked? Home buyers and investors. Home buyers there, investors there and abroad. Protests by angry home buyers and investors broke out in recent weeks and days in some cities. Social unrest is among the concerns, although, it's not the impoverished that are standing up. It's people that were buying homes and buying real estate and things like that. So we'll see. As far as the social unrest element of it, it's kind of not a big deal, in my opinion, but definitely financial unrest. On Monday, around 100 investors turned up at their headquarters in Shenzhen demanding repayment of loans. I'm sure all of them got a high five and a check, right? Forming chaotic scenes, according to Reuters. Okay, great. Sentiment is already spreading to Asia's high-yield bonds. Yields of Asian offshore bonds dominated by property firms spiked to an average of 13%. Why? Because they're pricing in risk, right? They're saying, if I'm going to hold this dog shit paper, you're going to pay me for this risk. So this is a company that's spiraling into death, and 13%. So if you're in some asset that's getting 20%, 22, 29, 30, 60, yield farming and all this other bullshit, just understand the level of risk. Understand that equals risk. Anything over 5 or 6% equals a massive amount of risk. Just look at the world around you. Don't get, we got to be careful not to stay so, micro focused, so much behind the microscope in crypto that we don't look at the greater world and take a note from them, take a beat. It's like, how do you guys price risk? You're the whole world. If these guys are looking at a company and saying it's going down, I want to be paid 13% for that debt. Now, why is that interesting? Well, people that own debt are more likely to get repatriated than people that own equity. Equity is the lowest tier of the capital stack. Corporate debt, notes, senior notes, that's the top end. They are likely to get repatriated. So their risk there is some yield risk. And I mean, there's definitely unwind risk, but it's not the same risk as if you own equity. If you own equity, turns out you don't own anything. Okay. Offshore investors will also be on the losing end. The research firm said in a note last week, the company guaranteed to deliver all pre-sold projects is likely, the company's guarantee to deliver these pre-sold projects is likely to lead to overseas stakeholders seeing little, if any, from the ultimate sale of their assets in the event of a bailout. So what would happen is they would come in, some other company would come in, they would pump in a bunch of cash. That company may be the government. My guess is the government will push cash through a variety of means to some other entities that are in the space, have them marginally take over with under the purview of the People's Bank of China, PBOC. And I'm guessing they will manipulate the puppet to quasi bailout, join in, invest, reinvest, whatever, to get this company out of insolvency or meet its debt obligations. But in doing so, this company's going to give up a lot of assets. It's going to look a lot like a very strategic liquidation. Okay. And if you're a foreign investor, you're likely to get anything out of it, even maybe your original investment. So that could be some major write-downs in other markets. We'll see. Hence the prospect of an unequal swap where the interests of onshore lenders, households and banks, are protected at the expense of equity and of the offshore bondholders. So even when you hold corporate debt, if you're an investor from an external investor, you probably won't even break even. You'll get some pennies on the dollar return. And it's very likely that the onshore lenders and investors, households and banks, will get made as good as possible. That's what the big worry is. So even if they get bailed out, because of the liquidation effects of a company going into receivership or restructuring, a lot of foreign investors are going to get nuked. That's kind of the problem, which that's going to spiral off to other people bailing these Chinese markets. So just keep it in the brain box. Suppliers. The implications of Evergrande's failure could also reverberate through other industries if the suppliers are not paid. According to S&P Global Ratings, Evergrande might be trying to persuade its suppliers and contractor to accept physical properties as payment. Basically, listen, we can't pay you, but how about that house you were working on? How about that property? So in this, they would do this to protect whatever cash they have for loan repayments to somehow stay afloat. So they'd basically trade assets for debt and keep as much cash as they could, kind of keep them afloat. I don't know. It's a very interesting story with a lot of little tendrils. This guy, Dan Wang, economist from Hang Seng Bank, says he believes there will be some supporting measures from the central government or even the central bank trying to bail out Evergrande. Yes, they said they're not too big to fail. I'm not so sure. We'll see. In August, the S&P estimated that over the next 12 months, Evergrande will have over 240 billion yuan, 37.16 billion of bills and trade payables from contractors to settle. Around 100 billion yuan of that amount is due this year, 2021. A paint supplier to Evergrande, Shanghai-listed Skishu Paint, I did not pronounce that correctly, said that in a filing that the real estate firm repaid part of its debt in properties, and some of those properties that they used to repay that debt were uncompleted. So it's like, they're like, here's this house, here's this commercial thing, like, but it's not done. Like, yeah, well, that's what you get. Yeah, but you traded me a house. Yes, but there's just a foundation. There's no house. You want that or do you want nothing? I'll take it. So there you go. Ratings agency Fitch said banks may also have indirect exposure to Evergrande suppliers. Because what if you are invested in their suppliers and they're left on the hook with a bunch of unfinished projects and a bunch of money that they're not going to ever get back? Then they're going to get punished. So it's all these levels of punishment that go. It looks a lot like in crypto when people get nuked at 20x and then everybody else gets nuked on down the chain. The developers' trade payables stood at 667 billion Chinese yuan, according to Fitch. Is Evergrande too big to fail? And this will be kind of our final thought. The government's likely to step in due to how important Evergrande is, according to many analysts. I believe they will step in, but I believe it will be indirect through other entities in the space, right? Like if these guys are the second biggest, I imagine they'll go to the first biggest real estate firm and say, hey, listen, here's how it's going to work. We're gonna spot you guys some cash, or we're going to let you guys go on and bail these guys out and take on a lot of their assets, and we will find a way to make it work for you. So there's all sorts of cool ways the government could do that without directly involving themselves in the market. And then it could save face and say, we didn't bail it out. We have free markets. No, you don't. No, you do not. Evergrande is such an important real estate developer, and it'd be a strong signal if anything happened to it. Dan Wang believes that there will be some supporting measures from the central government or even the central bank trying to bail out Evergrande directly. We will see. A restructuring is more likely, according to other analysts. The most likely end game, this is kind of more along the lines of what I'm thinking, is a managed restructuring in which other developers take over Evergrande's uncompleted projects in exchange for a share of its land bank. So kind of cool. It's likely that the government will prioritize home buyers and banks over other parties, as they should. You didn't see investors being prioritized. You hear this. That's not who's prioritized. They will, the government will prioritize home buyers and banks. My guess would be banks and then home buyers. Policymakers' main priority would be households that have handed over deposits for properties that haven't yet been finished. The company's other creditors would suffer. Investment bank Natixis said the Chinese government will avoid systemic risks in the lead up to the 2022 National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, given its historical importance. Yeah, a big unwind of a la our 2007, 2008 housing market debacle is not what China wants running into the 2022 National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party. This would imply China Evergrande's debt crisis may snowball down the road. And my guess is they want to nip this in the bud now. What they don't want is some long-winded, systemic, slow, painful unwind that starts to gut sector after sector after sector, and then it propagates out like a transaction all the way across the network of nodes. And in this case, the nodes are banks and investors all across the world. So we'll see. Economic growth will not mitigate financial losses, as was the case in the past. So basically, they're saying that if the economy turns greener, that's not going to help these guys. They owe what they owe, and they're on the hook for debt that's untenable. And at some point, that's got to be fixed. So there we are. There's your, and you got to make your own decisions about how far you think this will spread. But these kinds of things are usually, there's a lot of knee-jerk panic. But this will be a talking point for some time until there is a very clear path to, I guess, to repatriation. Anyway, there you go. So now you have some cool stuff you guys can talk about at the water cooler, and you at least know what the situation is. You're not like, what? And you're not going to listen to a bunch of stupid bullcrap on these news, these talking head things. Like, no one at Fox knows anything about money, apparently. Nor does anyone at CNN, if we're being honest. These guys are all just rubes. The people at CNBC, you can actually listen to what they say and do the exact opposite and make money because they are more than flawed, right? Like, there used to be like this running joke: whatever CNBC says, do the opposite, and it was a winning trade. And they had these people that calculated all these, would say, "Yo, this is what when you should sell. If you did what they said, you always lost money." So be very careful when you're leveraging anyone's advice. Do your own research, make your own decisions, stay out of trouble. Don't do anything my poor insolvent drunk strung it on meth grandmother wouldn't do. She's smoking water again, having herself a good old time. I'm gonna have to go get her off the roof. She's dangling her feet over the roof. Classic grandma.
Hey, this is the Prophet with Nick Black. It's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain. We here to fix that. You want to lose on the new stocks? This where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair. It's time to sit back and talk to Prophet. Hey, you talking to the Prophet? Hey. We talking condos and nice clothes and dropping Lambos. I remember them night codes, we couldn't stand those. We tried to drive on them house roads, but had to stay low. Now there's solutions to hard bills we couldn't pay for. I talked to Prophet to get some profit, we couldn't change the top. If it's a stock and I need a cop it, I wait for him to drop it. Ain't no option, let's get it poppin'. We chillin' in the drop. I need some crypto, put it in my pocket. By any means I rock. This is the Prophet with Nick Black. It's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain, we here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks, this where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair. It's time to sit back and talk to Prophet. Hey, you talking to the Prophet? Hey, you talking to the Prophet?
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.